Namaste and welcome, beloveds.
Namaste, bienvenidos, amados.
How precious it is for us to come together in holy purpose.
Qué precioso es estar aquí juntos en propósito santo.
So tonight we have another topic for Jesus.
Hoy tenemos otro tema dado por Jesús.
And there's so much deep gratitude with him showing me how simple and direct it is to look at desires.
Y estoy agradecida como me ha estado mostrando cómo es de fácil mirar los deseos.
And that there is this deep desire below the level of awareness to relish and just love the experience of guilt.
Y debajo del nivel subconsciente encontramos el deseo de disfrutar la culpa.
And to have these fireside chats with Jesus, there's nothing special about it. Everyone can talk to Jesus with a high level of clarity.
Todos podemos escuchar a Jesús con un alto nivel de claridad.
It's available to everyone. That is his message.
Y su mensaje es ese. Todos podemos, está disponible para todos.
You know, when I first put the book out, someone asked me, well, why do we need that book?
Cuando pusimos el libro en vivo, alguien me preguntó, ¿para qué necesitamos este libro?
For Jesus, a New Covenant, because didn't he say everything in the Course of Miracles?
Y luego Jesús no dice todo en el curso de milagros.
He did, but if we're really not getting the message, he's going to try to get through to us again.
Lo hizo, pero al parecer no entendimos el mensaje y lo está diciendo nuevamente.
So wouldn't it be more of a surprise that in 50 years since the Course, he wouldn't try to keep communicating with us, to encourage us to come and ask for his help?
Y alrededor de 50 años que lleva el curso, él nos estaba invitando a que hablemos con él, que pidamos su ayuda.
And that his help is available to all of us.
Y la ayuda está disponible para todos.
Simple and direct.
Simple y directo.
It's not hidden.
No,
it's not hidden.
No castiga.
It's not something that some people have and other people don't have.
No es algo que algunas personas tengan y otras no tengan.
The voice for God speaks to me throughout the day.
La voz de Dios me habla durante todo el día.
And so now we have the power of Jesus if we say yes to him.
Y ahora tenemos el poder de Jesús si le decimos sí a él.
He's going to directly coach us, directly.
Él nos va a entrenar directamente.
When we open our hearts, he will show us directly where are we denying that God has given us everything.
Y él nos va a mostrar directamente dónde estamos negando que Dios nos da todo.
And that's what he meant about he has to direct all the miracles.
Y por eso es que él hace énfasis de que él necesita dirigir todos los milagros.
Now, in the play of consciousness, even though I had studied the Course for a long time, I didn't really realize that I relished guilt.
Y después de estudiar tanto el curso, no me había dado cuenta que disfrutaba tanto la culpa.
That the whole world is an experience of relishing, experience of guilt.
Que todo el mundo es una experiencia de disfrutar la culpa.
So until we can open the mind to really having that dialogue with him, we're not going to be willing to hear about that.
Y hasta que no abramos nuestra mente a hablar con él, no vamos a poder sanar esto.
So that's why we join in these light circles.
Por eso es que nos unimos en estos círculos de luz.
To really pause and just go deeply to hear that voice within coach us.
Y pausar y ir directamente a que esa voz nos entrene.
And part of that tuning in to hear God so clearly is through our brother.
Y una forma de clarificar el mensaje es a través de nuestros hermanos, de recibir el mensaje.
Our brother is the way to tune us. It's like coming together to tune into a radio station.
Es como aclarar una estación de radio. Se hace con el hermano.
The radio station of God.
La estación de radio de Dios.
rather than the radio station of everything except for God.
O en lugar de la estación de radio de todo excepto de Dios.
The news about all the problems in the world.
De las noticias de todos los problemas en el mundo.
So now he gives us a topic for tonight. He says, look with me so simply to see how much you really relish the desire of guilt.
Y el tema que nos ha dado para hoy es, mira cómo te fascina, te encanta y disfrutas la culpa.
And if this is the underpinning, and Jesus is telling this is the whole underbelly of the denial of all the love we are, it would be a good thing to look at.
Dice que es un tema importante de mirar porque está debajo de todas las demás creencias y deseos.
Jesus, show me, please show me below my level of awareness where I am relishing the experience of guilt.
Jesús, muéstrame debajo del nivel de conciencia dónde estoy disfrutando la culpa.
Let's just ask him, Jesus, do I relish the experience of guilt?
Preguntémosle a Jesús, ¿disfrutamos la culpa?
And just ask.
Y simplemente preguntamos.
And at first you might hear, oh, no, I don't.
Y lo primero que quizás vayas a escuchar es, no, para nada.
If you're not at perfect peace, then guilt is relished.
Si no estás en perfecta paz, es porque estás disfrutando la culpa.
So let's just ask him that. Jesus, is every twitch, every time there's a contraction or I react to something, is that relishing guilt?
Cada vez que tenemos un twitch o una molestia, ¿estamos disfrutando la culpa?
And here inside.
Y escuchen.
Every twitch.
Cada molestia.
Is a desired experience.
Es un deseo de una experiencia.
And what's really hilarious, we laugh about it here at the center.
Aquí nos reímos en el centro.
Like you come to the center for a while and then you feel like you're twitching, everything's bugging you.
Y cuando vienes acá comienzas a darte cuenta que te molesta todo.
Someone drops a spoon on the floor and you can just feel yourself jump.
Alguien tira la cuchara en el piso y inmediatamente saltas.
But it's because we've talked to Jesus and now these things are no longer hidden. They are coming into awareness for the healing of the mind.
Y es que Jesús está trayendo todo esto a la conciencia para que sanemos la mente.
But the ego is going, oh, I don't want to look that deeply.
Y el ego dice, no, yo no quiero ver eso profundamente.
Something's going to be taken away.
Algo me van a quitar y no.
So we put all of the investment in the play of consciousness is put all the investment in guilt.
En el juego de la conciencia es poner toda la inversión en la culpa.
And no investment in seeing that the love of God is total and complete right now.
Y no ver que el amor es completo y ahora, y aquí.
So now we have the one who knows the most powerful symbol in consciousness and beyond. It comes from beyond consciousness.
Y ahora tenemos un ejemplo de que es más allá, que va más allá de la conciencia.
In the form of Jesus.
En la forma de Jesús.
To say,
para decir.
To say, I'm here.
Estoy aquí.
To take you out of this world.
Para sacarte de este mundo.
If you let me.
Si no me lo permites.
So let's just be honesty of God.
Y vayamos a la honestidad de Dios.
Which is being the real honesty.
Que es la verdadera honestidad.
Because the world's honesty means nothing.
Porque la honestidad del mundo no significa nada.
So we're going to ask honesty of God.
Vamos a preguntar en la honestidad de Dios.
Jesus.
Jesús.
Am I willing to accept your help?
Jesús, ¿estoy dispuesta a aceptar tu ayuda?
To see the desire to deny love that exists below my level of awareness.
En donde estoy negando el amor que está.
Am I willing to accept your help to show me where below my level of awareness do I have denials, the blocks to love?
Donde en el nivel subconsciente estoy negando el amor.
Because the whole world's a denial of the denial of God.
Porque todo el mundo es una negación de la negación.
So first we're totally honesty of God, total honesty of God going, okay, Jesus, show me, am I willing to accept your help 100%?
En la honestidad de Dios, lo primero que hacemos en la honestidad de Dios, Jesús, estoy dispuesto a aceptar
your help 100%.
Aceptar tu ayuda 100%.
Okay, let's just see. Ask them.
Preguntémosle.
Might as well hear the truth.
Aquí están los compañeros para decir la verdad.
And these are the kinds of questions when we come together here in light circles, we ask Jesus to show us these kinds of desires so they can be released to miracles.
Y aquí en los círculos lo que hacemos es preguntarle a Jesús para que nos muestre profundamente dónde estamos ocultando.
So it's okay if you're listening and you talk to Jesus and he tells you are not willing to listen to me 100%, you celebrate that.
Y si la respuesta es que no estás aceptando la ayuda de Jesús un 100%, celebramos también eso.
Because we cannot have a deep relationship with Jesus unless we're 100% honest with ourselves.
Y no podemos tener una relación con Jesús hasta que no seamos 100%, seamos honestos con nosotros mismos.
On exactly how willing we are to follow him.
En la medida de la disposición que tenemos para seguirlo.
And really seeing where we're kind of trying to dodge a little bit and maybe not really follow him.
Donde estamos como dudando de seguirlo.
And then we can ask his help, okay, Jesus, show me where I am not willing to follow you.
Y luego le decimos, Jesús, muéstrame dónde no tengo la voluntad de seguirte.
Because every spot where we're not willing to follow is an opportunity for healing.
Porque cada punto donde no estamos dispuestos a escucharlo es una oportunidad de sanar.
Because wherever we don't follow him 100%, we're saying no to ourselves as divine beings.
Porque donde no le decimos 100% a él, nos estamos diciendo a nosotros mismos no.
And the ego is going to make exceptions to following him unequivocally.
Y el ego va a hacer excepciones para seguir a Jesús inequívocamente.
It's sneaky. It's going to come up with all kinds of excuses like why we're not powerful to follow him without exception.
Y va a venir con muchas excusas como no puedo seguirte inequívocamente.
Following him unequivocally is saying yes to ourselves as divine being nonstop. Is saying yes to him is to say yes to ourselves as God made us.
Decirle sí a Jesús es decirnos sí a nosotros como el ser que fue creado por Dios.
100%, no exceptions.
Sin ninguna excepción.
Why would we want to make an exception on the perfection that God made us?
¿Por qué tenemos que hacer una excepción donde somos lo que Dios hizo?
Because consciousness loves to play and avoid alignment with the Father's will for perfect happiness.
Porque a la conciencia le encanta jugar a no alinearse con la voluntad de Dios que es perfecta felicidad.
And it plays the game of pretending that it's peaceful even as it's totally in hell.
Y pretende que estamos en paz cuando estamos en el infierno.
So now we have Jesus, we come together, we gather together, and we ask Jesus together, Jesus, show me where in the mind, what do I need to look at specifically for healing the mind?
Y ahora venimos juntos y le preguntamos a Jesús, ¿dónde en la mente estamos? Where in the mind? Sorry.
What needs to be healed?
¿Qué necesita ser sanado en la mente?
What is hidden below my level of awareness that I need to open up and reveal to the light of truth?
¿Qué estamos escondiendo en el nivel subconsciente para ser revelado a la luz?
Where am I deceiving myself that I'm less than holy and perfect as God made me?
¿Dónde me estoy diciendo que no soy lo que Dios hizo?
This is an incredible offer.
Esta es una oferta increíble.
Everyone who comes to these circles, it loves Jesus.
Todos los que vienen a este círculo aman a Jesús.
So now we just have to find out all the excuses we're using not to follow him 100% of the time.
Y ahora vamos a examinar cuáles son las excusas de donde no queremos seguir a Jesús 100%.
You can call it the Holy Spirit too, if that's a better, more comfortable symbol.
Y tú también lo puedes llamar Espíritu Santo si es un símbolo que te sientes más confiada.
It's a symbol of the voice of truth within.
Es el símbolo de la voz de la verdad en nosotros, en nuestro interior.
He's really showing us where we're being dishonest.
Él nos muestra dónde estamos siendo deshonestos.
All the love of the Father, it's just here. It's total. It's complete. We're that.
Todo el amor del Padre está aquí completo.
Happiness isn't a tomorrow thing or next week thing or a because thing.
La felicidad no es mañana o porque si pasa alguna cosa.
It's infinite right now.
Es infinito aquí.
So that's the question, Jesus, am I willing to be perfectly happy?
También le podemos preguntar a Jesús, ¿estoy dispuesto a ser totalmente feliz?
And we need him to show us where we're being dishonest with ourselves about who we are.
Y lo necesitamos saber para que nos diga dónde estamos siendo deshonestos con lo que somos.
And that without the absolute commitment to truth of who we are, without 100% commitment to who we are,
sin un 100% de compromiso con quiénes somos nosotros,
we are relishing keeping that guilt underneath our awareness.
Vamos a seguir disfrutando en el nivel de su conciencia la culpa.
Jesus, is guilt a desired experience?
Jesús, ¿la culpa es una experiencia deseada?
See, in the play of consciousness would say first, no, I don't really desire guilt.
En el juego de la conciencia dice, no, yo realmente no quiero la culpa.
There's a play in consciousness that wanting it, unless there's perfect peace, the only way that not to have perfect peace is somewhere in the mind be relishing guilt.
Y si no estamos en perfecta paz, en alguna parte estamos disfrutando la culpa.
A mind that's free, that's fully forgiven and acceptance of the atonement doesn't know what guilt is.
La mente está autónoma.
Is fully accepting the atonement, doesn't know what...
Ha aceptado la expiación 100% y no sabe qué es la culpa.
And he's given us our brother to help us so that we cannot fool ourselves anymore.
Y él nos está dando a nuestros hermanos para que no nos engañemos nunca más.
He's given our brother to show us where we have a lot of twitches.
Él nos está dando a nuestros hermanos para que nos demos cuenta dónde hay molestias.
Where we're reactive.
Dónde estamos reaccionando.
Where we don't want to admit that our brother is ourselves.
Donde no estamos admitiendo que nuestro hermano que es nosotros mismos.
Where we don't want to admit that our brother is a symbol of God in the mind.
Donde no estamos admitiendo que nuestro hermano es el símbolo de Dios en nuestra mente.
Yeah, he's talking about honesty of God.
Él está hablando de la honestidad de Dios.
And how much self-honesty it really takes to be with Jesus and have him show everything, every denial.
Y cómo es importante que Jesús nos muestre cada negación.
But for those who are committed to fast spiritual awakening,
para las personas que están llamadas a un despertar rápido.
What could possibly be faster than working with the one who knows?
¿Qué sería más fácil, qué sería más rápido que trabajar con who,
the one who knows.
con el que sabe.
The one who knows where all the bones are buried.
De el que sabe dónde están los huesos enterrados.
Where are all those little secret places and pockets in the mind where love is denied?
Los secretos y los bolsillos secretos donde estamos negando el amor.
And you know how when you're reading A Course in Miracles or the text,
Leyendo el Curso de Milagros o el Urtext,
and the more you go into forgiveness with Jesus,
y tú vas más en el perdón con Jesús,
sometimes it just seems like sentences just pop out at you off the page, you know, when you really get it, like,
y hay partes de algunas páginas donde te saltan las palabras
it really, the bird really, it lands so deeply in the heart.
y te tocan profundo en el corazón.
And it's like, I see what he's talking about now.
Y así es como él está hablando ahora.
What could be more helpful than, at least for me, nothing's been as helpful as sitting down with Jesus and asking him sentence by sentence questions from the Course.
Y ha sido importante para mí, por ejemplo, tomar el curso y preguntarle segmento por segmento directamente a él.
Questions about the text.
Preguntas acerca del Urtext.
You know, and he'll say in the middle of the course, or if you're doing the course and people get in an argument about what's in this book versus what's in that book.
Y hay personas que están teniendo diferencias de qué dice en este libro y qué dice en el otro libro.
But he would tell me, get the lesson.
Pero él me dijo, aprende la lección.
Because as soon as we're in that argument, we're in the relishing of the experience of guilt. As soon as we're in the argument, we're relishing the experience of guilt.
Y porque cuando entramos en los argumentos y las diferencias, estamos disfrutando la culpa.
And denying the miracle.
Y negando los milagros, el milagro.
So in the text, he was speaking what really just grabbed my attention.
En el Urtext, él estaba hablando y hay algo que me llamó la atención.
It's such a great example of how he uses things in consciousness that we're attracted to.
Y él usa cosas que le atraen a la conciencia.
Now, I'm not saying I was attracted to statistics.
Bueno, no puedo decir que sea que me haya atraído las de estadística.
But kind of in the play, being that scientific mind, I had studied statistics.
Pero como una mente científica, estudié estadística.
And I just remember just reading along the text.
Y estaba leyendo sobre el Urtext.
See, and Helen and Bill were both scientists too.
Y los dos, Bill y Helen, eran científicos también.
They were researchers researching psychology.
Eran investigadores de psicología.
Okay, different. But why, I was thinking, Jesus, why is he talking so much about specificity?
¿Y por qué Jesús estaba hablando tanto de la especificidad?
And accuracy.
Y la accuracy, claridad. I don't know. Something clear?
Clear, but you know, like out of all the choices, you get right to the one that's most important.
Como ir al punto más específico.
You know, it's specific, it's it's on the mark.
Va como en la marca.
Because we're playing off the mark. You know, it's the error of thought which is off the mark. A sin is being off the mark.
Porque el pecado es fuera de esa marca.
Okay. Now what I was like, oh my gosh, there's something like that just popped in.
Y hubo algo que me llamó la atención.
It's like, what's he showing me this for?
¿Y para qué él me está mostrando esto?
Well, you just talk to him about it and ask him.
¿Por qué no le pregunto?
Because consciousness is a smoke and mirrors manufacturing to obscure that we're light.
Porque la conciencia está oscureciendo que somos luz.
you know, and if you, when you might have noticed this, when you start clearing the mind during forgiveness, you start realizing you feel like a rat running in a maze.
Y cuando estás mirando en la conciencia, te ves como un ratón girando en un... I don't know what's the name exactly in Spanish. ¿Cómo? En una rueda.
Takes a team. But you can, there's so many distractions. Consciousness is a distraction machine.
La conciencia es una máquina de distracción.
And now we have Jesus's voice out of all of consciousness to come in like a razor, like a beam of light and go, here, exactly here is where you're denying God.
Y Jesús viene como un rayo y te muestra dónde estás negando que eres luz.
Right on target, highly accurate.
Directamente en el objetivo.
Who's going to be more accurate than Jesus?
¿Quién puede ser más efectivo que Jesús?
And specific.
Y específico.
Here's what's most helpful for healing the mind.
Y él te dice, aquí está lo que es here.
Here's what's most helpful for healing the mind.
Lo más útil para la sanación de la mente.
Right here. And if we ask, he will help us uncover and release the blocks to the awareness of love.
Y si le pedimos, él nos va a mostrar dónde están los bloqueos que están impidiendo que seamos el amor.
He doesn't say, spend a lot of time talking about it.
Él no te va a decir, vamos a gastar un tiempo para hablar de eso.
No, our only function is to go, I am not at peace.
Y nuestra única función es decir, no estoy en paz.
I might be wrong.
Quizá estoy equivocado.
I don't know what it's for.
No sé para qué es.
Jesus, show me.
Jesús, muéstrame.
You show me what the upset, because I don't know what it is.
Y tú muéstrame esta molestia porque yo no sé para qué es.
What could be more powerful than sitting in a circle with brothers asking Jesus what's most helpful to heal the mind?
¿Qué más puede ser, también más poderoso puede ser que unirte con tu hermano y preguntarle directamente a Jesús qué es lo más útil para la sanación?
And to set aside discussing the course anymore. Put aside discussing the course.
Y pones de lado el querer discutir el curso. Analizar.
Because he'll tell you directly, it has to be specific guidance from him, but right now he is saying no course discussion.
Él te está diciendo no más discusiones acerca del curso.
He's saying, come to me and ask me to show you now.
Ven conmigo y pregúntame a mí. Y yo te muestro.
Ask me what every sentence in the course means.
Pregúntame a mí qué quiere decir cada frase del curso.
Why wouldn't we do that?
¿Por qué no hacemos eso?
Get out a pencil. Jesus, what does this mean?
Toma un lápiz y pregúntale a Jesús, ¿qué quiere decir esto?
And you can ask him right now whether he's going to tell you what it means.
Y él te puede decir ahora mismo qué quiere decir.
Jesus, if I ask you, will you tell me which each line in the course means? And hear him.
Jesús, preguntémosle, Jesús, si yo te pregunto qué quiere decir cada línea del curso, ¿tú me vas a decir?
Okay, so he's being very clear that everyone can hear him at the level of clarity of Helen now.
Y él ha sido muy claro que todos pueden escucharlo en el nivel que lo escuchaba Helen.
But if there's greater value on guilt than talking to Jesus,
pero es de gran valor,
greater value on guilt than talking to Jesus,
de culpa de hablar con Jesús.
You won't be speaking to him.
No quieres hablar con Jesús.
They see that relishing of guilt is to have all this noise in the mind, not to hear him speaking.
Y el disfrute de todo este ruido alrededor de la mente para no escuchar.
Here's how it works.
Estas son sus palabras.
If you make him 100% your priority, there's nothing in this world that's going to stop you from hearing him.
Si lo pones a Jesús como tu prioridad, no va a haber nada que te pare de escuchar.
There's no one that can stop you from hearing him.
Nadie te va a parar de escucharlo.
And you'll hear that you've been hearing them all along.
Y ya lo has venido escuchando.
It's 100%.
Eso es 100%.
Because if you're called here, you've been talking to him for a really long time.
Y si has estado hablando por largo tiempo.
But because of the relishing of guilt to obscure,
Y por el disfrute de la culpa que la oscurece.
And stay in the play of the dream.
Y estarse en el juego del sueño.
It will seem like you don't hear him.
Parece que no lo escucharas.
I'm asking him if I can say this.
Le estoy preguntando si puedo decir esto.
Let me assure you, he says.
Él dice, déjame asegurarte.
The only reason why you can't hear me.
La única razón por la cual no me puedes escuchar.
Is because you're making a decision not to.
Porque estás tomando la decisión de no hacerlo.
The only way we cannot hear what's natural to us is to decide not to hear it.
La única forma de no escucharlo, porque es natural, es que no queramos escucharlo.
And then to relish not hearing him.
Y disfrutar el no escucharlo.
So I knew that I could hear him.
Yo supe que lo escuchaba.
But I also knew that his voice would get even more clear. The more desires to deny that are released.
Entre más deseos que iba liberando, más.
You'll hear that voice like a bell.
Comencé a escucharlo como una campana.
Like a bell rings, you don't have any question what that is. You know it's a bell.
Que sabes que es una campana. Que no hay duda.
So if you want to hear him, there's nothing in this world that will stop you.
Si lo quieres escuchar, no hay nada en este mundo que te pueda detener.
100%, 24/7.
100%, 7/24.
Now, we have to look at then the desire not to hear the voice.
Y hay que mirar el deseo de no escuchar la voz.
Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness to pretend like I can't hear you?
Jesús, tengo el deseo en el nivel por debajo del nivel de conciencia de que no te puedo escuchar.
And I can see here how much focus it took to get past my own desire for delusion.
Y cómo exige todo esto enfocarse y no dejarnos engañar.
Because the way consciousness plays is to try to obscure that voice every which way.
Y porque el juego de la conciencia va a tratar de oscurecer esta voz como pueda.
For me, which is truly helpful, is, as I've said before, even when I had the worst, most horrific headache.
Incluso cuando tenía un dolor de cabeza terrible.
I was still focused on, it's like, no, I'm going to focus on his voice.
Y dije, no, me voy a enfocar en su voz.
And that's how it's got to be, no matter what's coming up in consciousness.
Y eso es lo que debemos hacer. No importa lo que aparezca en la conciencia.
To not value the guilt, to value his voice more.
No valorar la culpa, valorar más su voz.
And with that determination,
y con esa determinación,
and following him,
seguirlo a él.
You have to follow him. There isn't another way.
Tienes que seguirlo, no hay otra manera.
Because the ego is a play of avoiding following the light within.
Porque el ego es el juego en la conciencia de evadir, seguirlo.
You have to say yes consistently.
Tienes que decir constantemente sí.
And to the ego, it is not going to feel good.
Y al ego no le va a gustar. No se va a sentir bien.
Because the ego is going to be fighting to keep its little kingdom.
Porque el ego va a querer pelear por su pequeño reinito.
And we talk about there the number of times you can, well, you just ask Jesus. Let's just ask him.
Bueno, vamos a preguntarle a Jesús.
Jesus, am I going to have to say no to the ego a lot to follow you?
Voy a tener que decirle muchas veces no al ego para seguirte.
A lot.
Mucho.
Because we just relish the ego. It's just relish. The play is to relish it.
Porque disfrutamos el ego.
We, the sleeping ones, relish it.
Porque los dormidos disfrutamos.
The only way to be asleep to what's already here is to not want to see it.
Eh, mm,
The only way to be asleep to what's already here is to refuse to see it.
la única forma de mantenernos dormidos es rehusarnos a ver que está aquí.
To refuse to admit and accept that there's only light. That's it.
De rehusarnos a ver que solo hay luz.
So there can seem to be a number of quote unquote awakening experiences.
Y pareciera,
there can seem to be a lot of awakening experiences.
Pareciera que deberían haber muchas experiencias de despertar.
Because it's really natural. It's natural to recognize that the light is here.
Porque es muy natural reconocer que la luz está aquí.
And it can be peaceful. Oh my gosh, I see that I'm infinite and I'm not limited.
Puedo ver que soy infinito, que no estoy limitado.
But what Jesus is offering, what happens is that is not a consistent experience.
Pero eso no es una experiencia consistente.
Because there's still desires below the level of awareness to keep guilt in the mind.
Pero van a haber deseos aún en el nivel subconsciente que van a tener a la mente atrapada.
To deny the infinite light that's already here.
Para negar que la luz está aquí.
And until those are cleared out, that peace can never be a consistent experience.
Y hasta que no sean clarificados estos deseos, no va a haber una paz consistente.
So the emphasis a lot of times, oh, I woke up and it's really beautiful and wonderful.
Y hay personas que dicen desperté y es muy hermoso.
And the next day, wait, suddenly I was in hell. What happened?
Y al otro día dicen estoy en el infierno, no sé qué pasó.
Well, there's still desires for something other than light below the level of awareness.
Porque habían deseos aún en el nivel de conciencia.
So it's relishing the guilt. It's going with Jesus and go, okay, Jesus, show me where I'm relishing the experience. It's like the little devil under there going, I love it.
Por eso tenemos que ir y mirar cómo disfrutamos, que ese pequeño diablo, cómo disfrutamos relishing guilt or what?
Relishing guilt below the level of awareness.
Disfrutamos la culpa.
You know, it's the ego going like this. Oh, I just love this relish.
Me encanta esto, me fascina.
So just ask them, because you can talk to them. Just say, Jesus, do I relish guilt below my level of awareness? And just really love it.
Pregúntenle a Jesús si disfrutamos en el nivel de su conciencia la culpa.
And when that realization comes through Jesus,
y cuando nos demos cuenta de eso a través de Jesús,
and it really starts getting admitted,
y comencemos a admitirlo,
I mean, smoke might rise up out of your head, all these things might happen, but it's so helpful. Smoke might rise up. You might feel like you steam and you're sweating. And you start seeing that.
Vas a sentir que estás humeando, pero
because the ego's not going to want to look at that. It doesn't want to look how consciousness fractionates into a billion pieces by relishing guilt.
Al ego no le va a gustar eso porque no quiere ver cómo la conciencia se fraccionó en miles de pedazos.
It's a relished experience.
Es un disfrute de una experiencia.
So now we have a clear and specific means given by him.
Y ahora tenemos específico.
Specific means given by him.
Específico
method given by him.
Método dado por él.
For uncovering every single place where we're saying no to God.
Para descubrir cada parte de donde estamos negando. Específicamente.
With accuracy.
Con precisión.
But for most in the play, it's just they'd rather play in guilt.
Pero para muchos es el disfrute de la culpa.
And play in the world.
Y jugar en el mundo.
And not follow 100%.
Y no seguirlo 100%.
That's what it takes. For those that want to experience the kingdom of heaven is here now.
Para esos que quieren vivir el reino de los cielos,
it's 100% deal.
Debe ser un contrato al 100%.
Because we're either 100% God or we're 100% God.
Tiene que ser 100% Dios o 100% Dios.
And it does require the attentiveness to God and His kingdom.
Y por eso requiere que estemos atentos al reino de los cielos.
And the willingness to look at everything with Jesus below the level of awareness.
Y estar dispuestos a mirar con Jesús todos los deseos en el nivel de su conciencia.
It's just the quickest. How could it possibly be quicker than having Jesus come in and say, okay, here's what you have to heal, what needs healing?
¿Qué puede ser más directo que tener a Jesús que te muestra directamente qué se necesita sanar?
It was like, as I said, as soon as I saw that, you get the whole picture. You get that He must guide this. This is why He's in charge of the atonement.
Y cuando te des cuenta, vas a entender por qué Él está a cargo de la expiación.
Because of the power, the accuracy, the precision with which He can come in. This needs to be healed. This needs to be healed. This needs to be healed.
Porque con la precisión de que Él da es esto es lo que tiene que ser sanado, esto es lo que tiene que ser sanado.
Awakening is simple and fast.
El despertar va a ser rápido.
But you'll start to see as you're working like on chapter 20.
Y estás trabajando en el capítulo 20.
Or we're going to really be encouraging beings to come together and on Zoom and start looking at desires together to release them.
Y porque estamos invitando también a los compañeros que se unan por Zoom y liberen deseos.
Jesus is saying this is the highest value of time.
Esto es un tiempo valioso.
There's not a higher value of time than clearing the desire to deny God.
No puede haber más alto nivel que de usar el tiempo en mirar las negaciones.
And to learn to have that dialogue with Jesus, so where He comes in so directly and specifically and says, here, look at this. This is where you need a miracle.
Y donde vamos a recibir la precisión de Jesús, de donde te dice, mira aquí directa esto y aquí necesitas un milagro.
Okay, so that's the fast part.
Esa es la parte más rápida.
The slow part is not accepting the immediacy of the miracle.
Y la parte dura es no aceptar el milagro.
It's the screaming and the crying and the gnashing of teeth to tell Jesus that He's wrong.
Y es llorar y gritar y decirle a Jesús que él está equivocado.
And all the reasons why the miracle can't be accepted right now.
Y todas las razones por las cuales el milagro no puede ser aceptado ahora mismo.
Like legions of excuses and but Jesus, this is why I can't release it to a miracle.
Legiones de excusas para decirle a Jesús, ¿por qué no puedo aceptar el milagro ahora?
Not willing to be wrong.
No estar dispuestos a estar equivocados.
And accept the miracle quickly, the
y
correction.
Aceptar el milagro inmediatamente.
You know, it's just done. You see it, you go, Jesus, okay, I relish it. Look at the relishing. It's gone.
Ya está hecho. Mira, Jesús, el milagro es dado y se fue.
You won't even remember what that, like He says in A Course in Miracles, you won't even remember, what was that?
Ni siquiera vas a recordar de qué estaban hablando.
You know, like you'll start to see it. You'll have thrown a fit and grrr, all upset and all this kind of stuff.
Hay todo este ruido, estas molestias.
And then you finally just look with Jesus and go, well, that wasn't anything.
Y luego miras con Jesús y te das cuenta que no era nada.
So that's really discovery, and the beings here can share too as well. In fact, I think, is somebody sharing tonight?
¿Alguien va a compartir algo?
After this session, they're going to talk about their experience with Jesus in the 90-day program.
Y luego de esta sesión van a haber compañeros que van a compartir qué han aprendido del programa de 90 días con Jesús.
And Jesus will tell them what to say. That's our only function.
Y eso, ellos van a recibir de Jesús qué es lo que tienen que decir.
The experience that you can start to see, and we start laughing in the light circles.
Y en la experiencia nos damos cuenta que nos comenzamos a reír en los círculos de luz.
Because it's not that Jesus won't talk to us.
No es que Jesús no nos quiera hablar.
It's not that he's not going to show us exactly what we need to forgive.
No es que Él no nos quiera mostrar exactamente lo que tenemos que perdonar.
It's that guilt is in the subconscious mind is relished so bad, we just love duking it out with Jesus and saying no to release it to a miracle.
Sino que disfrutamos la culpa y no la queremos liberar a un milagro.
That's the only thing that takes time.
Eso es la única parte que toma tiempo.
The miracle and the correction is immediate.
El milagro y la corrección son inmediatas.
But it's the argument with Jesus to try to extend out the timeline and tell him all the reasons why we can't forgive him.
Y queremos mantenerlo en la línea de tiempo diciéndole a Jesús todas las razones por las cuales no podemos perdonar.
And all the reasons why we're not going to look right directly to release the relishing.
Y todas las excusas para no mirar qué es lo que el disfrute y liberarlo.
So we just, the play of consciousness is just really, I'm going to keep that. It's so good. It's so delicious, all that guilt down there.
Y el juego de la conciencia es, no quiero soltar esto es maravilloso.
But on the surface play, like face the innocent, oh, I'm not doing that.
Pero en la superficie, con la cara de inocencia, no, a mí no me gusta eso.
So I just asked Jesus, and I think we know the answer to this, what I'm about to say.
Lo que voy a decir, creo que sabemos ya la respuesta.
But I ask him anyway, because I want to be clear, 100% clear.
Pero le voy a preguntar de todas maneras porque quiero que sea claro.
Because to me, his voice and what he's saying is the most valuable thing.
Porque para mí lo que él dice es la cosa más valiosa.
But is it face of innocence to say, I cannot hear you?
Pero es cara de inocencia decir, no te escucho. Yes.
We can all hear the answer.
Sí. Todos podemos escuchar la respuesta.
The circles of light that he's given where we gather with a brother to start looking at desires.
Los círculos de luz que nos ha dado él para unirnos y mirar los deseos.
The gift of that cannot be spoken about.
El regalo que es eso no se puede hablar. De eso no se puede hablar.
But the number of fights that beings want to have with Jesus not to do that, to keep personal identity rather than look with their brother as assigned.
Pero la cantidad de veces que vas a pelear con Jesús y no que vas a querer mirar con tu hermano, eso.
And find an excuse of why they don't have the time now where they're all locked in their houses.
Y las excusas que ellos dicen de que no tienen tiempo cuando están en estos momentos encerrados en sus casas.
But for anyone, any student that is devoted to Jesus and spiritual awakening,
pero cualquier estudiante que sea devoto de Jesús en el despertar,
you'd be doing chapter 20 every day with them.
Y que esté haciendo el capítulo 20 con él
cada
día.
Let's just ask them because we'll all hear it.
Preguntemos, porque todos lo podemos escuchar.
And making time for these light circles to gather with brothers to go as deep as possible in the mind to clear these denials.
Y que sacan tiempo para mirar con su hermano todas estas negaciones.
And really learn to hear his voice with like clear as a bell.
Y aprender a escuchar su voz como la claridad de una campana.
And then here's the real, when you're ready to go really deep with Jesus.
Cuando estás listo para ir profundamente con Jesús.
You will be ready to talk and listen to him with your brother to hear what your guidance is.
Y vas a poder escuchar con tu hermano cuál es su guía.
And you'll hear with your brother clarity, and you'll clear all the reasons why you can't supposedly do something that he's asking.
Y vas a mirar con tu hermano por qué supuestamente no puedes hacer lo que él te pide.
So you can ask him, Jesus, is it that I can't do what you're asking me, or I'm deciding I don't want to?
Es que no quiero hacer lo que tú me dices, que no puedo hacer lo que tú me dices, o que no quiero hacer lo que tú me dices.
And then is this keeping guilt in the mind?
Y eso es mantener la culpa en la mente.
Is this my desire to keep guilt alive in the mind?
Y eso es mi deseo, mantener la culpa viva en la mente.
So yeah, he's really coming through the strong message, encouraging core students.
Y él le está invitando a los estudiantes del curso
to convert over the discussion groups to clearing desires groups.
en lugar de tener grupos de discusión del curso, tener grupos de clarificación de deseos.
To really learn with the brother to be able to hear his voice and get guided to which specific desires need to be released from the subconscious mind.
Y mirar qué deseos en el nivel subconsciente tienen que ser liberados.
And then to see in the honesty of God how much resistance there is to looking that directly and then releasing easily these desires.
Mirar profundamente los deseos y liberarlos rápidamente.
But it's most helpful for those who really want to
Eso es
take,
muy útil
who really want to take the course all the way.
si queremos ir con el curso todo el camino.
Who really want to give their life over to God in his kingdom.
Si queremos entregarle nuestra vida a Dios y a su reino.
And who wants to lay up treasures in heaven rather than laying up the treasures of hell of this world.
¿Quién quiere tener los tesoros del cielo en lugar de los tesoros del mundo?
So we thank
Del
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for this
Gracias Jesús
such a direct, clear teaching.
por esta claridad de enseñanzas.
And to encourage us that this is possible. Our only function in this world is to transcend it.
Para invitarnos a que a trascender esta. Say again, sorry.
The only function in this world is to transcend it.
La única función nuestra es trascender esto.
It's for the unification of consciousness.
Es para la unificación de la conciencia.
Until consciousness falls away and there's only the unnameable.
Hasta que seamos lo innombrable.
What is?
Lo que es.
All the love of the Father, exactly like as it is, holy, whole, and complete.
Todo el amor del Padre, santo y completo, pleno.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Much love.
Mucho amor.